It's Wednesday, August 6th. The New York financial markets are open, and today's big number, $80 billion. That's how much Rupert Murdoch was willing to pay for Time Warner until he suddenly dropped his takeover bid, ending what would have been the biggest media merger in a decade. Hello, everyone. I'm Michelle Franzen in New York, here to discuss the deal that almost was, as well as the dropped merger between Sprint and T-Mobile. Lauren Lister of Yahoo Finance. Good morning, Lauren.
Good morning.
So give us an idea. What stopped Murdoch from spending all that Fox cash to buy Time Warner?
All that Fox cash was not enough, Michelle. The price was not right. So a couple things that Fox has cited, which is one being Time Warner kind of giving them the cold shoulder, not really being willing to engage with them. But the other had to do with shareholder value, and that this would a decline in Fox's shares, the share price after this takeover bid had been announced, would make this unattractive to shareholders. And even though Fox was offering $85 a share, that was the original bid offer, which valued the company at about $80 billion, which is a lot of money. And there was some indication that they were willing to pay more, looking at $90 to $95 a share. The word from Time Warner was that they would be needing something around $100 a share at least in order to accept this offer. So it looks like at the end of the day, there just wasn't the right numbers and prices in place to make it worth it.
Lukewarm. In a statement, Murdoch pointed at Time Warner's reluctance to negotiate, as well as some misgivings about the deal from Fox shareholders. It's not like him, though, Murdoch, to give up on something that he wants. What's your feeling on the street that Murdoch could be back after Time Warner?
Well, yeah, this is something that is definitely a question that's out there. But what analysts are saying this morning is that, hey, maybe this is a new Rupert Murdoch who is actually more in line with strategic interests, yes, but that don't negatively impact shareholder value and that are more attuned with what the investors in the company actually want, because they have stepped away from this deal and have indicated that they're focused on pursuing other strategic visions that the company has, including boning up their own cable offering, is just one example. And someone that was quoted as close to the Fox deal in the Wall Street Journal said that this is it, that they're not revisiting it and don't expect this to come back. So if that is true, then it would seem to indicate that this is it.
All right, let's talk about another big deal that vaporized Sprint's $32 billion takeover of T-Mobile. How did this mega merger just unravel so quickly, and why?
Yeah, so this has a little bit of a different issue at play. So Sprint abandoned its bid and its desire to acquire T-Mobile because of the regulatory hurdles that it would face. So in order to get this deal through, it would have had to clear through the Justice Department and the FCC. And the indications that the company was getting from Capitol Hill was that the hurdles would be high and that they would fight this and that it wouldn't be easy for them. And even though Sprint had boned up on their Washington advisors and powerful lobbyists, and the chairman had been making the rounds talking about how this would be a really good thing for customers and for the market, at the end of the day, it just appears that it was too high of a hurdle for it to be worth it for them to try and fight.
So this leaves Verizon and AT&T as the two undisputed heavyweights in wireless communications, and since bigger seems to be better, are there now concerns that either Sprint or T-Mobile may not be able to survive?
Well, so the issue that Sprint has had, or at least that it's been claiming, is that it needs T-Mobile or needs more in order to really mount itself as a strong third player in the market to compete with the bigger likes of AT&T and Verizon. So will they go away? I don't know. It doesn't seem like that's a real threat or fear today, but they will have to do it the hard way. Sprint, in terms of gaining more customers. They've had network problems because they've been rebuilding theirs, and so they've lost money many years in a row, and they've lost customers, so they really will have to fight the hard way in order to gain those customers back. They're not going to get it by just buying T-Mobile's customers. But the thing that the regulators were concerned about was that if there was this merger, that there just wouldn't be enough options for consumers, particularly at the low end of the cell phone market, if there were just three big players instead of four. So We'll see. But in the meanwhile, there are other suitors out there for T-Mobile, including a European suitor. So, it doesn't look like the Sprint T-Mobile thing will come to fruition, though there has been some indication that perhaps they could try again later.
Lauren Lister of Yahoo Finance, thanks for joining us.
Thank you.
You can keep up with this and the latest headlines right here on abcnews.com. You've been watching The Big Number. I'm Michelle Franzen in New York.